You won't believe what happened during my last final exam. This is me and this is my friend Saki. We worked together to complete notes for our immunology syllabus, and you would think with 4 arms and 3 brain cells combined, we would be ahead of schedule. No! With only 1 day left till our final exam, we realized that we have almost 400 pages of notes to shove into our brains before the next morning. Unfortunately, these things just kind of happens at university sometimes. So besties, in this video, I'll just explain what I did to be able to study everything in 1 day and my top tips on how to memorize fast. The first and last study tips are game changers that will cut down your learning time in half. But I do recommend watching the entire video and grabbing a piece of paper because I do introduce a lot of new study tips and new apps that you might not have seen before, so be sure to write them down. First, here's how I cut down my studying from days to just hours. We all know that in order to memorize something, we need to understand it first. If you struggle with memorization, it's usually because information tends to go in one ear and out the other, especially when you don't understand what you're looking at. I know that's the case for me. But understanding things can sometimes take way too long. So the fastest way to learn is to actually create questions and answers. I'll explain why in a little bit. But creating questions is difficult and sometimes they take days to create. So how did I do that in just a few hours? I used AI, specifically ChatGPT. Just go to chat.openai.com, it's free, no worries, and I specifically entered this prompt into the chat. Make sure you copy and paste your notes at the bottom of this prompt. I'll put this ChatGPT prompt in the description box below so you can copy and paste it and you don't have to type it out. If you feel like the questions and answers that ChatGPT gave you aren't complete or they don't cover all your notes, you can always ask it to just create more. You can turn this into flashcards, but what I did was create a table on Google Docs, then just copy and pasted the questions and answers in there. This is just so I can cover the right-hand side and test myself using the questions on the left-hand side. I explained how this method of note-taking is really effective for memorization in my previous video that you can check out here. I'm still new to AI, so this prompt might not be very professional, but it worked for me, so I hope it helps you too. If you have more time than I did, I highly recommend that you ask ChatGPT to create questions and answers based off of your learning objectives for a specific topic or lecture. Just copy and paste this prompt into the chat. The information is literally the same in my notes on the left and the right, but I have no idea why when information is presented in the question and answer format, I just digest information that much quicker. Also, no past year papers were given to us for our immunology exam, so I felt that creating questions and answers really helped because now how I was studying is exactly as how I would be answering in the exam. All these notes are already in answer format, so I'll just need to write the same thing in my exam. Of course, cramming is bad, and I definitely do not recommend it, but let's face it, you and we find ourselves in situations where we need to cram sometimes. So if you're someone who likes to excel in difficult topics fast, I highly recommend this website called Brilliant. It's so interactive, it feels like a video game, which makes learning difficult topics in STEM so much easier. You guys have seen me use Brilliant before. I used it to revive my interest for computer science after the pandemic. I even filmed the process. It's a really fun way to fuel that interest you have in science or mathematics and to make the idea of subjects like engineering less intimidating, which is super important, by the way, if you're going into university and you want to try subjects out. Instead of going on TikTok, try to use Brilliant, which feels like a video game anyway, on your phone or laptop. By dedicating just 15 minutes a day to completing lessons, you'd be amazed at how quickly you can learn new things, whether that be scientific thinking, mathematics, quantum mechanics, critical thinking, and so much more. Use Brilliant for free for 30 days by going to brilliant.org/fayefilms or click the link in the description box below. The first 200 of you will also get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. So after going through all the material, Saki and I actually made summary pages for each of the topics. So we would write the learning objectives on top, then include all the relevant information for those objectives on that page. These summary pages are also so good for quick revision on the morning of your final exam. We limited ourselves to 1 page per lecture, which is really difficult but necessary because it helped us prioritize and know which parts of that topic was important. Also, I want to emphasize how important it is to work with your friends. You cannot do this alone. Saki and I divided our workload evenly. This also saved us because I didn't really understand a few lectures, but because Saki is tasked with doing the summary pages for those lectures, she just explained it to me and I quickly understood. I was responsible for the immunology parts of our syllabus, so I spent a few hours studying that, then I quickly explained it to her. It actually ended up being the bulk of what came out for our exam. With my other subject, cell biology, Eve and I actually completed notes for different topics, then exchanged them. There's no time to be selfish here. Work with your friends. I also found that studying the same material twice a day, once in the morning and once at night, really helped me remember information. Each time you revisit a material, you're essentially practicing something called active recall, which is just a fancy term for saying pulling information out of your memory. And the more you practice recalling information, the better you get at it. So studying once in the morning, then just spending a few minutes to study the same thing again at night is like you're revising twice a day. I did this by doing the notes in the morning, then doing the summary pages at night. So by studying twice a day, we're essentially using the power of repetition and active recall, which we all know are the two most powerful tools for memorization. So all the tips that I've mentioned so far are for memorization. But what's the next step, right? How do we get the best marks in our essays and exams?
An advertisement might play in the next few seconds, so if you'd like to support this channel, please do not skip the ad. Thank you.
The game changer for me was creating mind maps. Do you remember in the second tip, I mentioned that I studied the immunology parts of our syllabus that ended up coming out for our exam? That is actually one of the most difficult parts of our entire syllabus, and the only reason I was able to understand it after just 5 hours of studying was because I created a mind map. Yes, I spent 5 hours doing a mind map, which sounds like a lot, but I would have spent 10 or more hours trying to understand it instead. After the notes and summary sheets, doing a mind map really helped me link the topics together. So here are my top tips on how to create effective mind maps fast. I started by picking a concept that I was confused about and searching it on YouTube. Then I created a simple mind map from that video. I used a free app called Preview on my iPad to create my mind map, but you can just use a simple piece of paper. From there, I just looked at my notes and added information as I went along, making sure to connect any links between topics. I did this by making sure that each protein or molecule had its own color, so you can immediately tell how many times it appears in your mind map. So doing this helps you stand out and in turn excel in your exam because you're able to link one thing to many different processes or topics. This is the only reason why I'm able to score so well for essays and presentations. Now I want to talk about something more unique. I want to share a memorization tip that I actually stumbled across on TikTok that is surprisingly effective. It's just as simple as scribbling on a piece of paper. So, what does scribbling have to do with memorization? To be honest, I'm also not quite sure why it works so well, but it does. While memorizing, I just let my hand move freely across the page and scribble. Scribble the terms, the diagrams, or the phrases as you're studying them. This has worked really well for other people, so let me know if it works for you in the comment section below. I'm really curious. But how do you test if you actually remembered enough? After you're done studying a chapter, put that book away and blurt out everything you can remember onto a scrap piece of paper. Don't care if it's messy or disorganized, that's not the point. It's all about dumping your brain's contents onto this paper. Of course, if you're cramming, you're going to notice that so many things are missing from your brain dump, like I did. Identifying and filling in the gaps is just another round of revision that you're effortlessly doing. If you've made it this far, comment down below if you're good or bad at memorizing things. Also, let me know if you want me to make videos on how you can use AI to help you study. Check out my YouTube shorts because I'll be posting mini vlogs almost every single day here. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell and set it to all so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Thank you for 957,000 subscribers, and I'll see you all in my next video or on Instagram and Twitter. Bye bye!